Hello everyone, this is Greg again, doing some more C# tutorials. Today the C# tutorial will be for sending out email to your SMTP server or Exchange server, what have you. SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transport Protocol. It's the protocol on port 25 which transfers back and forth between Exchange servers and the client. They also use other ports, but that's one of the main ones. So anyway, this isn't a networking course, so we'll get into some code here. Basically what I have here is a shell of a routine called send mail. You're going to be passing it the from mail, the to email, the subject, and the body. What I'm about to do, I have tested already, so it does work, but just so everybody's aware, this will throw an exception because these are fictitious email addresses, but I have tested it with my corporate Exchange account and it works fine. So I just didn't want to put my actual email address on YouTube, and unfortunately the way Google works, because of credentials and everything, you can't easily do this as simply as I wanted to make this tutorial. So I was not able to use my Gmail accounts. So anyway, without further ado, first thing I wanted to mention was that there's a using right here called systemnet.net.mail. That namespace is needed for the two objects that we're going to make, which are mail messages and SMTPClient. So let's make the mail message, call it message equals new mail message, and this actually has several overloads, which allows you, if you wanted to put information all at once. I'm going to do it separately so it kind of makes a little more sense to everybody. SMTP client equals new SMTP client. Okay, so those are the two objects we need. Then we're going to do message dot to and dot add. Okay, so we're going to add a mail message. And there's two things. You can either give it a mail address or a string address. In this case, we're going to do string address since we have the to email as an argument for this routine. So that's a little easier. Now, the reason you have a .add here, you're going to notice that with the from, you're not going to have this. The reason is because after this, you can do, message dot to add, and you can make your own little, whoops, I forgot my dot there, and then whatever.com, okay, and that will be appended to the people that are going to get that email address. Whatever.com will get it, and to whatever gets set as to email, which in this case happens to be gcoleman at 0828 at domain.com. So both of those will get it. So this allows you to append over and over again more email addresses, build in if statements that if this is there, attach it, or make a new, add a new person. Sometimes when your workflow, you'll have where if somebody's filled out a form, because that's a lot of times where email is going out, and they selected chocolates, that Joe Smith needs to be notified when chocolates is checked. You can do an if statement that if chocolates is checked, do a message.add Joe Smith at company.com. So with that taken care of, the next part is message.from. Okay, you'll notice that this has an address, and if you look at its information, gets the email, you'll notice that there's no gets or sets email address. That is because this is a read-only property. So if I do address then equals from email, you're going to notice that you get a read-only. It's a read-only property, so you can't set it. So if you go back one more to a from, you can do this, but the only problem is that you have to do a mail address, okay? Actually new, I'm sorry. You have to new, so you have to basically instantiate it, new mail address, and put parentheses around it. You'll notice that it's a string address, and there you go. And then the only other thing you have to, I'm sorry, I'm going a little ahead of myself here. So one thing you also have to do is, or you can do, this is not required. Oh, by the way, you'll notice that there is a CC option here. You can do that same thing. Okay, you can get a collection of addresses for CCing or add them. There's this body HTML. Okay, for the most part, especially if you're doing this in a web environment or even a client, really any client environment, you're going to want to have this set, because what this will allow you to do is, right now my string body is just as text what's up, but if you wanted to, you can make this HTML, and put actual HTML tags in here, and then what you can do is inline CSS as well. You can't, unfortunately, especially with Outlook, you cannot attach a CSS file as an attachment and then use it within the code. You have to have inline CSS, unless something's changed in 2010. That's how it was in 2007. So just as a heads up, you can do that and make inline code, somewhere up top, and then reference that variable in here, because you don't want to put all that HTML inside of the routine, obviously, where you're calling the routine. So without this, it won't know what those HTML tags are, and it will fail. So that's all for that. Now client dot, let's see here, host. Okay, you want to give it, if I remember correctly, I think it is a string. Yep. So let's see, this is another fictitious number, but I'm just picking a number at random. And then client dot, let's see, what else do we have here? I think that's, delivery method. Okay, and that equals, I believe, let's see, SMTP delivery method dot. And you're probably most of the time gonna, there's two other options here, but most of the time you're gonna choose network. And then your last option here is to send, and you can do it in an async call, so that it does can do other things while you're doing this, or you can do a send, and it will get back. It will sit there and wait. I'll be doing other tutorials on async and how it hooks into this send completed and all that stuff, but that's beyond the scope of this tutorial. And then what you're going to do is that message that you create, object that you created, you're just going to append that there, and then that's it. Alright, let me just check my other code here, and I think that should be it. Oh, I'm sorry, there's two other things that I forgot to talk about, subject and body. Those are pretty self-explanatory, but just to make sure that we're on the right page here and everybody has a good founding spot to go off of, you have a subject, and it's going to be equal to subject, and that does not require any HTML. None of this requires it, but if you want, you can't put any HTML in there because there's really no reason for it. And then body, boom, and you're done. So this is really small, a really nice, concise, small amount of code. This is one of those things where the .NET framework has really come to life, and you're not opening sockets, you're not doing anything like you do in Objective-C and for the Mac world. You're not writing your own socket entry and all that stuff in this particular case. So I hope everybody enjoyed my tutorial, and I will have some more soon. Have a good day. Bye-bye.